This week, the global trade board shifted again. China rolled out new restrictions targeting over 50 U.S. companies, hitting major defense and tech contractors in direct response to recent blacklists. The crossfire immediately impacts physical resource chains, sweeping up rare earth producers like MP Materials. If you read the headlines, the consensus is grim. The prevailing narrative says the trade war is escalating beyond repair, supply chains are fracturing, and global integration is over. But the catastrophic economic damage of these sovereign tit-for-tats actually has very little to do with the trade restrictions themselves. The actual danger threatening global trade is time. A standard physical supply chain moves at a punishingly slow pace, operating on a 60 to 90-day cycle from start to finish. We have built a highly connected global economy that runs entirely on a delayed, asynchronous clock. And that massive lag is what sets the stage for disaster. Look at how a typical cross-border deal begins. Parts are manufactured and assembled by international partners. This timeline maps the underlying risk. Capital is committed on day one, and the parts are put on a boat. But the actual physical delivery and financial settlement don't happen until day 90. Then a geopolitical shock hits. A sovereign nation abruptly imposes a blacklist overnight, cutting off access. Because the legacy market is blind, companies now have a month and a half's worth of capital and inventory hurtling toward a door that is no longer open. Billions of dollars instantly become trapped in transit. Contracts default, companies bleed cash, and they are left scrambling to untangle thousands of containers stranded at the border. This violent hit to the balance sheet is the fragmentation tax of global trade. It is the literal cost of operating an economy stuck in the past. What if you could entirely eliminate that operational blind spot? The solution lies in shifting the entire global infrastructure to T0, or real-time gross settlement. In this model, the delay is erased. Execution and settlement are collapsed, so they occur in the exact same millisecond. Achieving this requires a cyber-physical architecture, like the systems being developed at ZYRO HIVE, that bridges the physical transit of goods with instantaneous digital settlement. When execution and settlement happen simultaneously, there is zero in-transit capital left hanging in the balance, vulnerable to sudden geopolitical shocks. Let's replay that exact same trade restriction from earlier, but this time run it through a T0 environment. The political decision remains the same. A sovereign nation closes its borders overnight. But this time, the network instantly recognizes the boundary. Instead of crashing 45 days later, capital halts at the perimeter, rerouting demand and supply into alternative global markets like water. This reveals a completely different path forward. We do not have to override national sovereignty to maintain an interconnected global economy. If a country decides to block a specific resource, a real-time architecture respects that legal decision completely. By eliminating the 90-day lag that traps capital, we remove the severe financial friction that makes closed borders so economically destructive. As geopolitical stress continues to test supply chains, the math is becoming clear. How much longer can massive industrial players afford to bleed capital to 90-day guessing games?